Hello, beautiful people. It is I, Vomai the Evergreen here. Now, my pronouns are he, him, but if you got something juicy to tell me or you're rooting me on, girl is an exception. And welcome back to another episode of Tea with V. All right, Vomizers, you know what time it is. It is time for some hot chai topics, all right? So come on and get your teas ready, get everything situated because there is much to discuss. Now, you and I both know I love in October. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. For some reason, I feel sexy when I'm in the October season. I just do. I don't know why. I'm calling a thing. I know it's strange, but it's like, do you have a month where you feel like you're sexiest? Like right now, like I feel inflamed. My body's going through it. I am thugging it through to be here for you because I love doing tea with V. What I don't love is to hear on the news that, Halloween, which, we all live for, even though Halloween's my day off. Yes, you didn't know that? Oh yeah, Halloween is my day off. I dress 364 days out of the year. Halloween is my day off. I dress like super normal, jeans, t-shirts, hoodie, call it a day. Because in roles in reverse, I get to see how everybody sees me. You know what I mean? Also, I believe that people who are dressed up in costumes for Halloween is what they truly want to dress like. If you know what I mean. Like that's the one time where everybody can dress the way that they want to and not feel judged because everybody's in it. You know what I mean? So to all the people who count down the seconds to Halloween, I'm thinking of you, boo. And don't be afraid to dress the way you want to. But there's this thing on the news where these kids have to watch their candy. Back in the day when you were growing up, you always heard about razors in your candy apples and stuff like that, which apparently hasn't been reported. No case has been reported, allegedly. But now they're talking about how there's gonna be these little rainbow candies that are fentanyl. You didn't know about this? Look it up on the news. Like I saw it recently on the news. So I don't know. It could be alleged. It could be fear mongering. But at the end of the day, don't forget to check the candy when your goobers are going out trick-or-treating. It's crazy out here in these streets. People are dying, shooting people and all of this crazy stuff. But all in all, watch out for your little ones. All right. So as everybody's watching out for their little ones, I, of course, have been watching out for Miss Lady Gaga. Did you hear? Yes. Well, apparently her boyfriend of 3 years, Michael Polansky, they are now taking a break. Sources are saying that they just need time apart. However, Michael wants children and Gaga wants to focus on her career. Now, if you're a true little monster such as myself, you know that this has happened twice, I believe. To her longtime boyfriend, Taylor Kinney, they were together for like 5 whole business years. They met on the You and I video, and they broke up in 2016. They were engaged for about a year, since 2014. Yeah, 2014 or 2015, I believe, is when Gaga got engaged. I remember it like yesterday. I remember I was in my grandmother's car. I think we were coming back from church, and I heard on the radio that Gaga got engaged. I'll never forget it. She has a gorgeous heart-shaped diamond, which I'm still obsessed with. And Taylor proposed to her back in the day. But anyway, on this boy from Michael Polansky, they met before COVID, so 2019. There was rumors that she was seeing somebody, but there was this one gentleman that she was caught kissing which was Michael, for this New Year's party in Vegas. And a good friend of mine, Giuseppe, I love you, he's my brother. I remember him and I were going back and forth, and he was saying, I think it's a one night stand, you know. And I'm like, I don't know, I think Gaga be loving love. I think this one is a keeper. And sure enough, it was her new boyfriend. Now they are taking a break officially. We don't know if it's gonna go back. You know, I personally want Gaga to be happy regardless. I know at the end of the day, her art comes first to a certain degree until she has children, which she wants to have children. But man, Gaga, when are you gonna stop? You know what I mean? Now, I'm gonna call my girl out. You know, I love her to death. I gotta keep it $150. Gaga, hypothetically, this is in my head. This is all in my head. But I feel as if though that wouldn't it make sense for you to, obviously when you start dating and whatnot, you get to know the person that you're with. Now, I feel like in my head, you want to say, listen, I want to have kids. I want to be a mom. I want to be a mom. But I worked hard for my career. And if there's an opportunity that is, you know, beneficial, I have to take it. Now, I feel like you want to say that, but if you do, these guys are going to go away. They're just going to walk away. They're not going to want to be with you and whatnot. So, Gaga, are you having these honest conversations? I'm sure you're having these I'm sure that you're having these real conversations with these men about letting you know where you want to be in your career. So, all in all, Gaga, I'm wishing you nothing but light, love, and positivity. Michael, you know, I understand, you know, I appreciate a man who's honest and knows what he wants at the end of the day. Can we call a thing a thing? You know, we're so keen on getting on men's behinds about not knowing what they want, but Michael clearly knows what he wants. And not to say that Gaga doesn't know what she wants, but I don't know. And also too, she's starring in that new Joker film. You know, she's playing Harley Quinn, so I can only imagine what the mind is going through, you know, being in a relationship playing that kind of a role. You know what I mean? Especially when that comes through, you know, your relationships. Now, granted, you know, she's a method actor, so she really lives to a certain degree, but really lives in the character. She's about that life, you know, method acting. All in it, speak like, you know, when she was doing House of Gucci, she stayed in that Italian accent. So, ooh, Gaga, I'm with you. I'm wishing you again love and happiness, and you know, I hope there's reconciliation. You know, you're in your 30s, homeboy's in his late 30s, I think. So it's gonna work out. Fingers crossed, or pause up. I don't know. You decide. You know what your thoughts are in the comments. What would you do in this scenario? Okay, I gotta show you this video. All right, it is unbelievable. So there's this woman who was being interviewed on this podcast, and this video went viral because her wig fell off mid-interview. Take a look.
He's a good father. He is, you know, and he has the best intentions for you. His plans are to prosper you. Yeah. Bring you to an expected end, but your life does not. Oh my God. Oh my God. Bruh, we gonna keep this? I can't even reach it, bro. This is beyond embarrassing. Wait a minute. Bruh.
Don't be laughing, look there.
Life be like, wait a minute. I'm weak. Everybody we're so embarrassed. Oh God, that was a good one. Let me take my camera.
Oh my God. Like, oh, can you imagine? Like, I could not imagine that being me. Now, granted, can we give her a round of applause for literally taking it like a champ, not being embarrassed, not saying cut the cameras off and whatnot? Like, she didn't even, it is what it is. Like, I think she had to roll with it because in the back of her mind, she was like, this may fall off and I'm gonna rock it. But who thinks of their wig falling off? Have you heard of clips, bobby pins, a little something? Like, listen, my situation is secure, right, and tight to the point where I could fall over because this wig is too damn tight. You know what I mean? Like, I could never imagine. But you know what? I appreciate a woman who plays it off. I really do. Couldn't be me though. I'd be like, I go down with the wig. The wig falls off, I'm falling over. You know what I mean? I wish I knew this woman's address so I could send her some bobby pins or something, wig clips. Literally, you got a whole situation. You couldn't just add a few somethings or some wig tape, wig loose. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. I love my stuff to be all nice and secure and whatnot. But hey, maybe the interviewer was so good that she just felt comfortable. Well, maybe her wig spoke for herself and was too comfortable and ended up just falling right over. But girl, I hope you're getting some wig clips because I shouldn't be me. Couldn't be me. Are you familiar with BTS? You know what, I live for a BTS. So I love me some K-pop. Ooh, I do. I do. I remember my first album, well, my re-first album, because J-World and J-World Face to Face is discontinued for the time being until, you know, I re-record some stuff. So my first album as Vamilo, because those two were, you know, by my old name, Pastel Funk, which is one of my favorite albums that I did. Such a classic. Ooh, that album ages like good old fine wine. If I ever, you know, I don't drink, but you know what I mean. But my album Pastel Funk, I remember when I was doing in the creative process, I knew that I wanted to have some type of K-pop anthemic, you know, experience to it, which ended up being one song. I didn't realize that I was trying to search for one song. You know, I think the album itself is like pop funk with a little bit of K-pop essence to it. Really, really fun record. I'll put it in the link in the description down below if you want to check it out. So BTS is a K-pop band, and look how many of them. That's like, how are you splitting your monies between? I mean, to each his own. They be making bank, you know. But apparently they are being enlisted in the Korean military. Now, I'm not a K-pop fan. I'm not a diehard K-pop fan, but with this information that I'm gonna bring to you, I cannot thoroughly, you know, bring out the words to this because it's so minute and detailed. So I'm gonna roll you a clip that explains this scenario, and then I'll come back. Roll it.
So for all of the people who aren't armies, let me explain why BTS decided to do this right now and why the fandom is actually so supportive of it. If you didn't know, South Korea has a mandatory military enlistment of 2 years for all able-bodied men. A couple of years ago, the government made an amendment that said that men had to enlist by the time they were 30. And this was because a lot of men were like deferring it because obviously they wanted to get their career settled before they went to serve. And the government was like, no, we want you to serve when you're at your physical peak, so you have until the time you're 30 to officially sign up. Jin turned 30 last year, but he got a military exemption last year so that he could do BTS activities this year. He was supposed to enlist this December. But since 2018, when BTS started to gain international popularity, the South Korean government has been talking about possibly granting BTS a military exemption. And this is because the group's success had been significantly contributing to South Korea's economy. And throughout this whole time, BTS were being really careful with what they were saying because a K-pop boy group has never been granted a military exemption, so this was an extremely controversial topic. They would just say, we're prepared to fulfill our duty. But armies had a lot of hope that the South Korean government would actually grant them the exception. So the years go by and BTS keeps getting bigger and bigger, and at one point the South Korean government actually asked the public if they think that BTS should get a military exemption. This causes a huge uproar, so the South Korean government has to backtrack and they're like, we're sorry that we got you involved, we'll make this decision on our own. The boys are going to go on another world tour, but then the pandemic hits. And Jin is getting closer and closer to 30. So then it's 2022, the boys do 4 shows in Vegas, and we're all thinking, oh, they're gonna do another world tour before Jin has to enlist. But then, bam! They announced that they're actually going on a hiatus. And while we're all freaking out, the South Korean economy starts to plummet. And that's when the South Korean government truly realizes the power that BTS has on their economy. So they suggest that BTS hosts a free concert in Busan where they will assess their true impact, and based on that, they will see if they'll grant them a military exemption. Now, BTS agrees to this because they've always said that they want to do a free concert for their fans. And 3 days ago, the sold-out show happened. Obviously, there were military officials present. It is an incredibly successful show, and over 40 million people stream it online. And remember, this show just happened a couple of days ago. So while the government is trying to decide whether or not they're going to grant them the exception, BTS's company drops this official announcement where it says that the boys have decided that they will fulfill their mandatory military service. They got tired of the government just playing around with their future, so they decided to take it into their own hands. And in the process, they embarrassed their politicians. This is their choice, and this is why we 100% support it.
You know what? I agree with K-pop. I think it's absolutely just fine to just do what you need to do. You know, I think it's dope that they're doing this actually, you know, keeping their word and whatnot, you know, even if they didn't really need to. But, you know, from them getting pushed and pulled back and forth, I think it's dope that they're just like, you know what? Let's just get it done and over with and keep it pushing. And that's pretty dope. And you know what? This band, they got some diehard fans that will wait 2 business years. And like I said earlier, what is time? It just flies by. So they're going to do their little situation and it's going to fly by and they're going to come back even better than ever. Same thing when Elvis, fun fact, he got enlisted into the military as well when he was really in his prime, you know, when he was gyrating and dipping and doing it and whatnot and hanging around with the folks of color and whatnot. They were like, you was out of line, send you behind the military. And he came back and then I believe he started doing movies and whatnot. But BTS, do your thing because you K-pop fans support your decision, and I guess I do too. So, listen, I'm 25 years young. You know, I try to moisturize, try to keep it, you know, together and all of that, even though I'm young. But I tell you, oh, my spirit is old. But I grew up with Cartoon Network. Did you grow up with Cartoon Network? I live for Cartoon Network. One of my favorite shows from Cartoon Network is, come on now, Courage the Cowardly Dog. Okay. Totally Spies. Yeah, you know I love a Totally Spy. Teen Titans? Like, hello, come on now. I'm just name dropping the classics. Codename Kids Next Door. Ed, and Eddie. Oh my Lord, I lived for an Ed, and Eddie. I always wanted a Jolly Rancher, the big ones that, oh my goodness. Now the rumor on the street is that Cartoon Network is officially done. Like, the network is canceled, it's going out of business and all of that. So we thought, until they had made a tweet that I'm going to show you in a second right here. Y'all, we are not dead. We are just turning 30. To our fans, we're not going anywhere. We have been and will always be your home for beloved, innovative cartoons. More to come. Now, I'm just happy that Cartoon Network is not being canceled. Now, granted, I haven't watched Cartoon Network in about a minute, so don't judge me. It really twists your whole mind to show how older you're becoming, you know, like the cartoon shows that you loved and whatnot that were going to be not gone, but you know what I mean. But like, I live for Dexter's Laboratory. I live for a Powerpuff Girl, you know, like all these great cartoons that I was growing up with. It really like puts your, like I believe hands down Gen Z, even though I feel like I'm part Gen Z, part millennial or whatever, but we grew up with the best cartoons. I'm just gonna keep it up. I'm gonna keep it 100. All right. Our generation grew up with some really good shows, and I'm glad that they're not, I'm really glad that they're not going anywhere. But on the bright side, they're now live streaming all of our generation, all of our favorite cartoon shows on YouTube. So I'm also gonna put a link in the description down below so you can check that out after the show. Cartoon Network, I'm glad that you are sticking around. Happy birthday. 30 and thriving, and yeah, let me know in the comments what your favorite Cartoon Network show growing up. Also too, there couldn't be no Cartoon Network without Adult Swim right behind it, but we'll get into that another time. All right, I don't know about you, but I live for a little thing I like to call sipping on some TikTok tea. All right, so let's get to it.
Oh yeah.
All right, I got 2 videos for you. One in particular is by EvMaryXO. I think that's how you pronounce it. Excuse me on account of my dyslexia. But overall, she talks about how parents being a priority. So roll the clip.
No, you do not get priority because you chose to have kids.
Okay, if you have not already seen that video and followed the comment thread, please go do this right now. So I used to work at this place, and I had moved across state to work at this place. And I worked with this woman, let's call her Karen, who had 2 kids. And I also just want to mention that until this incident, me and her had gotten along perfectly fine. So that year, I knew that I wanted to go home for like the week or so of Christmas break. I wanted to see my family, I was homesick, and I put in to leave for that week like months in advance, literally months. And I had also sent my boss like multiple emails throughout the months just to remind him that this was happening. So it's the week before the break, and I am so excited. I have already packed, like my family's expecting me. I have friends who are expecting me. I'm expecting me. So the week before, my boss calls me into his office, let's call him Bob, and he's like, hey Evie, listen, like I know you were planning to take off for vacation, but I talked to Karen, and she decided that she really wants to take her kids to Disney World over the break. And I was like, And he was like, I was just really hoping that you could find it in your heart to like let her take your week so she can spend some time with her children. And he also has kids, so he was like totally on her side about it. And I was like, you know what, Bob? I did what you said. I've searched my heart, and it turns out that there is nothing in my heart that's gonna make me willing to give her my week. No, but for real though, I was like, Bob, I literally put in for this like months in advance. Like I have people, my family's expecting me. And he's like, I know. He was like, I was just really hoping that you would just be willing to give it to her so she could spend time with her kids. I was like, did she even put in for this? And he's like, no, she literally talked to me about it this morning. 48 hours before the break's supposed to start. 48 hours. And I was like, listen, I'm sorry. Like, it sucks that she's not gonna get to take her kids to Disney World, but like, I'm not giving her my week. I'm sorry. And he was like big, like dad disappointed. Like he was like, oh, okay, well, you're gonna have to go out there and you're gonna have to tell Karen that she can't take her kids to Disney World. You're gonna have to tell her. And I was like, okay. I walked right out of his office, walked right up to her desk, and I was like, listen, Karen, I just talked to Bob, and I know he said that you wanted to take your kids and for me to give you my week, but like, I'm sorry, like, I'm just not gonna do that. I was like, I'm sure you can take your kids to Disney World at another time that's like scheduled. And she got so mad, you guys. Like the entitlement was unreal. She was like, you don't understand. I need to spend time with my children. I have children. Like they need to see their mother. And I was like, Karen, like I hear you. I was like, but I haven't seen my family in a year. Like you live with your kids. Like you see them every day. She was like, you have no idea what it's like. Like you have no idea how I feel right now. Like she actually started to cry. She just kept saying, like, you have no idea what it's like to have children. You have no idea what it's like to love like this. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, like, I love my parents, like, a lot. So she was like, you won't know unless you experience it. And I was like, you know what, Karen? That's probably true. But I am about to experience this vacation. See you in a week.
Now, overall, I agree with Homegirl. I think that, you know, the mother was in the wrong. Hate to say it, but it is what it is. You know, if you're a parent, you need to learn how to prioritize and make sure that you schedule properly and be professional about it. You just don't walk in casually and be like, hey, you know, I really want this week off, you know, to spend time with my kids. Can you ask one of the people who don't have kids if I could have their week? And I'm glad that you stuck your ground. You know, I would have done the same thing. I would. Listen, I prioritized. I was responsible. I made people know months before, and my family's expecting me. Sorry to break it to you. And you know what? I think that people need to realize that just because you're a parent doesn't mean that you're the first priority. I'm sorry. Call it thing. I'm not a parent, but even then, if I was one, I would never do some shit like this because I have respect for other people. You know what I mean? So all in all, girl, I'm glad you stuck to your guns because at the end of the day, I agree with you. People who have kids, sorry, you're not the first priority. You know, there's a time and a place for everything. And it's all about giving people grace as well, but also don't take advantage of the situation either. But overall, I'm glad you held it down. All right, and our next clip is by the user Eden Yonsei, and she gives her opinions on how she handles when people talks to her during a movie. Roll the clip.
I hate him. Be quiet, the movie's on kind of bitch. Bitch, we must digest.
Here's the thing about me. You could talk as much as you want, but be prepared for me to pause every 5 seconds. Every time you have something to say, I will pause it. Because to me, in a movie, in a show, it don't matter. Every look, every sigh, it matters. Every movement, that's a part of the cinema.
Oh my goodness. Okay, now I gotta be 1,000% with you. I gotta be 100. Nothing turns me off more. Nothing irks me more. Nothing twists my wig upside down, backwards, inside out than someone literally talking to me during a movie. Like I'm getting hot just thinking about it. That pisses me off. That pisses me off. I agree with Homegirl. I'm pausing it. Is there anything else would you like to say? Because I'm thoroughly in the movie. I'm trying to watch T with V. And here you are. Let's have it, you know? And I gotta give credit where credit is due. The love of my life, he's like, pause that. Let's discuss. I appreciate that. Oh, I appreciate that. But people, listen, this is why I love going to the movies by myself. I do. I love going to the movies by myself and not talking to anybody, not sharing my popcorn with anybody within reason. And just really just being so into the movie. Just right into the movie. Like, do not talk to me during what's happening? What does that mean? Like, I'm not the one. I'm not the 1, the 2, the 3. And I don't care if I saw it again where I know what's going on. Watch the movie. This is your first time seeing it. I'm not spoiling it for you. And usually you learn better when you watch something twice. So we're actually watching it together for the first time, in a way. You know what I mean? So all in all, I agree with you. I'm pausing, and let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Are you a digester where you have to talk during the movie, or are you like me? Are you team irritable? Stop talking. You know, I remember one time, and I'll never do this again. Me and my buddy Eli, shout out to Eli, love and appreciate you. We went to go see Us, and I was in the city. Child, we went to go see it in a black movie theater, and you can fill in the rest. Cause you know what? Listen, my people, we don't like to talk during the movie. We act out the movie. We feel so invested in that. Not me, not on account of my blackness. But like, the commentary. Oh my gosh, it was like it was like a live studio audience. Like it was like half of them were performing as well. So I'll never, ever go to the movies in the city ever again, unless it's like 2 or 3 in the morning with Kevin. Shout out to you, Kevin, remember? But yeah, all in all, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments, because we can agree to disagree. All right, so we're moving right along into this next segment, which I like to call Ask V. Now, Ask V is where you submit your questions, concerns, and all of that, and I give you my, perspective and guidance and advice to you. So let's see who has an Ask V today. All right, so hi, my name is Rebecca, and I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Ooh, I was just there not too long ago. My question doesn't pertain to me, but to you. Okay. I've noticed your work for the past few years, and I really admire what you do. But how do you have the strength and the confidence to pursue your dreams? Thank you, Rebecca, for your question. Wow, this is the first Ask V where it's about me. How do I have strength and confidence to pursue my dreams? It's a knowingness, if I'm being honest. Like it's a gut feeling. It's really knowing that I have to do this. Like the word, I have to do this. I have to create. I have to make this album. I have to, and I'm a spiritual person. I wouldn't say I'm a tasteful Christian. I be dipping and doing in Christianity, but I'm not religious. There's a difference between a religious and being Christian to a certain degree. People run to Christianity in all different types of forms where they're still hateful at the end of the day. I'm spiritual, but I do believe in God. And for me, I say this half jokingly, but half seriously, but if God calls, pick up the damn phone. Pick up the damn phone. And literally it's like a knowing in a voice where it's just like, I kid you not. I think I was done doing Tea with V at season 4. I was just like, you know what? I'll come back to it maybe like 8 years from now. Like tasteful. Some told me, do Tea with V's. Start doing Tea with V's. And I jumped up and I did it. It was a knowingness. It was something with, it was, I call it the Holy Spirit. But to each his own, you can call it whatever you want. But for me, it was just like a knowing to start doing Tea with V's. And I was just like, oh, okay. And because I kept seeing this image in the back of me, I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do Tea with V, I want it to look different. How do I make it look different for the new season? How do I up the ante? Because the past 4 seasons of Tea with V, they were live, and it was Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Oh yes, I was serious up in this joint. Now the best way for me to do Tea with V's is doing it once a week. I do it pre-recorded. I like this layout more better. I feel in my essence, and if I F up, I can just edit that out. But yeah, it's all about knowing this, and the confidence comes from me not giving a crap what anybody thinks. You know, people who don't know me or who have no idea who I am, or they feel it like. I'm all about love and positivity and spreading it through all out. So if you show me genuine love, I'm genuinely gonna show it back to you. You know what I mean? Or even people who I don't know 9 times out of 10, in a certain situation, if you're picking up what I'm putting down. It's all about discipline, technique, the nerve, and the willingness to look janky and awkward at first. You know, the same thing as Beyonce talked about in her Coachella documentary, you know. You have to embrace being janky and awkward at first in order to appreciate your skill set. And, you know, this is, you know, season 5 of Tea with V. So now I feel comfortable, you know, in front of the camera. So it was just me being comfortable. And once I got over that fear, because for me, I'm not in competition with everybody. I'm not. Okay, I'm in competition with my damn self. So overall, it's all about believing in yourself, you know, listening to the higher power, whatever you believe, and just going for it, because we got one life. You know, this is my vessel. All right, I love my vessel. I work hard in my vessel, dressing my vessel the way I want to. But thank you for submitting your question, by the way. I really do appreciate that, and I hope you enjoyed this Ask V. All right, so we're moving along to some show and tell. You know, I live for a show and tell. Remember back in the day when you were on the rug, you know, when, what was that, like 3rd grade, 4th grade? And you got to show and tell what you did over the weekend, Friday. You know, I live for a show and tell. So this is show and tell. So I have been in the works of creating a new performance series. It's called Glamour Wisdom. Now, Glamour Wisdom is pretty much like a cool cabaret, fun storytelling. I'm in these gorgeous gowns. I tell you about my experience, and I sing 2 songs. And so they're roughly like 11 minutes. But this one in particular is the first episode, and it's Act 1. There's going to be 4 acts. And overall, I'm very excited to give something different and something new, and also challenging myself, because again, I'm so used to dipping and doing it, you know, moving around, dancing and whatnot, popping and locking. But this time I'm actually trying to sit my black ass down and tell stories and just sing, you know. But if you want to check out Act 1 of Glamour Wisdom, hit the link in my description. Yeah, it's a fun time. I'm very grateful. Very, very grateful. All right, to close out in today's show, we of course have to read the quote of the week. All right, so this quote of the week is by good old Oprah Winfrey. Okay, she says, "Where there is no struggle, there is no strength." And that was by good old Oprah Winfrey. I love me some Oprah. I always describe this show with Wendy Williams and Oprah had a baby. It would be this show. Wouldn't you say? You know, a little fun here, a little commentary there, a little wisdom in the middle. You know, I like to keep it fresh for you guys. But overall, I hope you enjoyed today's episode as much as I did. And if you want to become a Vimizer, head over to my website, VimiloMusic.com. Anything and everything about me is on there except my birth certificate or social security. Don't forget to hit that like button, comment, and share, and don't forget to subscribe, all right? So please, please be safe, sanctified, and sanitary under these self-reflecting times. And of course, I will catch you all in the next video. Mwah! Bye.